Kirby's being interviewed and being asked about, hey, how do you feel about where Joseph Biden is, where the president is, comments he's making, all this other stuff. And, you know, he says the biggest issue in America is white supremacy. What do you think the biggest issue in America today is?
Oh gosh, the white supremacy. They're just never going to let it go. They're never going to let it go. I think I've testified twice on hearings where they are trying to tell you that white supremacy is the biggest issue.
Yeah, you were at the hate crime hearing where you just ruined everybody. You fact-checked everybody in real time. Jerry Nadler, everybody was like, you had everybody stunned, which was amazing. If people haven't seen it, go check that.
And that's infuriating because I remember I said in my congressional testimony, if I had to make a list of 100 things that were impacting Americans, white supremacy wouldn't make the list. And I mean that seriously. Gosh, what would be first? That's a very good question. I can give you a few things that are ranked very importantly, but I don't want to say what I would say is first. But the family unit being destroyed is if it's not one, it's two. What's happening with families and, you know, the government's creeping into our homes in regards to, you know, making people believe that marriage is not aspirational, that only happens in a society that's heading towards Marxist ideologies. And that is literally the Karl Marx doctrine, right? That if a government wants full omnipotence, it has to break down the family unit because the family unit stands in opposition to government omnipotence. So I would probably say every ill that we're seeing in society right now, which you might think are unrelated, are actually all related to destroying the family unit. So sometimes you say, you know, why are they on this climate change thing? And then you go, why are they fighting trans bathroom signs? And what's with this LGBTQ stuff? If you examine all of these issues and you realize what they have in common, it's that they are attacking families. So climate change, they're telling children don't have kids. Don't have kids. It's irresponsible. The planet's not going to be here for 10 years. Meghan and Harry got an award because they agreed to only have 2 kids. Yeah. It's about the shrinking of the family unit, it's totally bizarre. The LGBTQ stuff, if kids are chopping off their parts, they're not going to grow up to have a productive family.
Yeah.
You know, there's no nuclear family unit. If it's 2 lesbians or two gay people, more power to the government. You've got to turn to the government to even have a child, which is now coming down the pipeline with all of those things. And so, yeah, when I examine every issue that we're fighting, you can see that what the government is actually doing is trying to interrupt the family unit. So I would say that that's the number one issue.
And your friend Larry Elder said the exact same thing. He put that at number 1.
He put number 1, right?
Did he? Wow.
And then obviously a guy like that said very nice things.
I want to see what else she's going to say. Let me see what else she's going to say. What else would you say?
Well, so I was saying, like, I would put family issues first because every other societal ill follows it, you know? So when when I'm talking about the education system, right, and what's going on, and kids are getting systematically dumber across Baltimore. They can't find a single child that's proficient in reading and writing, but talk to the kid about BLM and they're going to be like, oh yeah, no, absolutely. They're training little Marxists. The kids actually know nothing. They're essentially toddlers. Like when you see a toddler throwing a temper tantrum, they don't understand why. And so they just blame rich people, right? It must be because of rich people that I failed in life. No, it's because you literally couldn't pass a basic reading exam and your life was cut off for you before you even graduated. But when you look at that, again, it brings you back to the family unit. Culture is a major problem. Hollywood and culture is definitely up there, but they're, again, reinforcing the breakdown of family, the overt sexualization, the perversion. I mean, that's what I'm saying about not importing American values. That is one of the most, I would say that is the most disgusting thing right now that's happening in America is the over-sexualization of our culture. And I look at other countries and I'm like, no, I'd much rather be importing those values, right? What are we exporting right now? When you look at what celebrities are endorsing and the overt sexuality, obviously you brought up that I did the Whatever podcast. It broke my heart to sit across from a 22-year-old who sleeps with 10 men a night. And her answer is, well, I make money, you know? Yeah. I make hundreds of $1,000s a year. You're 22 years old and you look like you're possessed by a demon because you are, right? Our culture is demonic. And
where would you put feminism on this? Because that's essentially what it comes down to, the monetization and the sexualization and the commoditization.
Feminism is the number one attack on family, right? Yeah. I mean, what are they telling women? Men ain't shit. You know, you don't
get your
need
bag,
a man.
Girl. You don't need
get
no
your
man.
Bag. Yeah, that's disgusting. You shouldn't be having children. There's a whole culture called dinks on TikTok. Dual income, no kids. Yeah, you know, they're getting millions of views. My life is so great. I don't have. This is literally the simulation right now that women are existing existing under, and believing that that they shouldn't be, that men are crap. And by the way, there's a response to that, which we can talk about. I talk a lot about masculinity and the decline of masculinity, because feminists have been bashing men over the head about being men, and how men don't have a lot of leaders and people that they can rely on. And so we're just now kind of seeing a response to the hyper feminization of culture, which is what we are suffering from right now. We are living in a matriarchy. The illusion is that it's patriarchy. It is in fact a matriarchy. Everything that we are dealing with right now is because people are emotional. Women have power. Women are in positions of power, and they're women. We are more emotional than men. Most women are more emotional than men.
What about